So building on the context, you talked about the context in an NGO being very different than the context in another type of entity. But just to twist our heads a little bit here, let's take Apple as an example and say you've got two distinct kinds of leaders who have led Apple. And one would argue both have been successful. You had Steve Jobs with his style of leadership leading Apple. You've had Tim Cook with his style of leadership leading Apple. And I think we would all agree that they're very, very different people. But yet they're both in the context of Apple, but during different periods of time. So can you just elaborate on sort of what you mean by context and maybe look at why it is that Tim Cook was probably the right person for the time that he has led it in, and why Steve Jobs might have been the right person, even though they're completely different people?
Yeah. So at the time that Apple entered into mobile telephony, as well as the music products, etc., they needed a strong innovator. So the great thing about was he disrupted many industries by bringing in a completely new ecosystem and app ecosystem into that. So he was the right person at the right time. Now, what Tim Cook has done over the last many years is to actually consolidate on that. Now, Tim Cook comes from a supply chain background. So when you are a global player, you're only designing things and everything else is outsourced and manufactured in China or somewhere else. You need a very good, efficient guy to bring it to the market. So now if you look at the context today, Apple is falling behind on innovation. So you look at the fold form. The fold form factor has been most successful form factors launched by Samsung. Apple's yet to react to it. Now everybody has launched AI and AI in phones. Apple is still struggling with it. So I believe in today's context, they need a very strong innovator on the technology side to say, hey, how do we now frog leap in order to beat competition? Okay. To give you a sport analogy, you will always have leaders who are adaptable. Maybe Steve Jobs was adaptable at that point of time. There'll be other leaders who are adaptable, like the RJ Nabisco guy, Lou Gusner. He went to IBM. He knew nothing about chips except the fact that he sold cookie chips. Okay. So the sport analogy I'll give you is Peter Fleming and John McEnroe were the very best doubles combination. So somebody asked Peter Fleming once, which is the best doubles combination in the world? He said John McEnroe and whoever plays with him. So there'll be some leaders who are extremely adaptable and who will go from industry to industry seamlessly. But not everybody is facile that way. That requires a lot of learning, unlearning, being curious, rethinking business models. Okay, that's the kind of skill set you need if you want to be a continuously transformative leader.